The good thing about it is I don't think you have to care about motorcycles. The
Exactly.
story
Yeah.
itself works even if you're not a motorcycle person.
I love it that they use anamorphic lenses. That's just a great gives it a great scope, a great kind of like almost epicness to the story.
They're just guys that love bikes and wanted to start a club, and then this machine grew out of control and became something that they no longer could control. Hey guys, welcome back to 24 Chambers of Film. I'm Nathan, this is Steven, and we're going to be doing a movie review on the Bikeriders. The movie is about a group of bike riders in Chicago who start a motorcycle club, and that motorcycle club evolves over time into a criminal syndicate, essentially. But it's not about the crime part, it's about how they went from an innocent bike club to a crime syndicate, and it tells a story of the founding fathers and essentially how this club they started turned into a monster that they none of them wanted it to become. Steven, can you kick things off as far as what you thought about the movie itself?
Yeah, overall, I liked the movie quite a bit. I didn't have high expectations, but I had like moderate expectations, and I personally, for me, they exceeded my expectations were exceeded. I thought the movie was very well executed. The acting, just a lot of the origin story of this biker club, coming to fruition, was a nice twist. Because I think the trailer I was kind of expecting a little bit more of the crime stuff from what the trailer showed, So I know that could maybe be misleading to some people, and they might not like that when they do watch the movie. That it's more of like a coming of age of this bike club, more than anything, and it kind of like an examination on the founders. Tom Hardy being the leader of the gang, and Austin Butler and Jodie Comer, who's kind of narrating this story and kind of giving the details, the insight to this photographer journalist guy throughout the whole movie. Yeah, I thought it was very well executed. I'm a fan of Jeff Nichols, the director, and he adapted the book into a script. I don't know if you've seen any of his other films. Take Shelter, with Michael Shannon, and then he also made that movie Midnight Special, I think, and Loving, which was right before this movie. He kind of took a little hiatus. His last film he made was in 2016.
The only movie of his that I'd seen was Mud,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
and
didn't think
Mud.
it was
Yeah,
a yeah, I
yeah.
didn't think it was a bad movie. I didn't think it was a great movie. It was just okay to me.
Hmm.
So I didn't really have any kind of opinion of him and his style or anything like that going into this movie. I did, as far as this movie goes, what did happen for me was I saw the trailer in process when I saw it. Basically, I saw the scene where, and it's not spoilers because it's in the trailer, but I saw the scene where Austin Butler's character, Benny, gets kicked out of a bar and
Mm.
gets attacked, and the bike riders come in and they basically torch the place down. When I saw that, I don't know why I tied it into a Bronx Tale. I didn't know what this movie was at that time, so I had to go look it up, and then I saw the full trailer. And in my mind, like you said, the trailer is a bit misleading because you think it's going to be about crime, almost like mobster style movie where these guys, run an organized crime racket, and it is completely opposite of that. It's actually, the way I look at it is almost, it's a coming of age story, except most people associate coming of age stories with like kids. It's a coming of age story for adults and their motorcycle club. But even more than that, it's almost like Frankenstein because these guys start this motorcycle club and it evolves into this monster that they can't control in the end,
Yeah.
and essentially turns on them. I thought the acting was great. I thought the casting was great. Tom Hardy was phenomenal.
Okay, so it seems like we both enjoyed the movie, so that's essentially, our pros for the movie. Let's go into the cons. What did you have any cons about the movie that didn't work for you really? If any issues that you would say?
I would have liked a little bit more insight into more of the bike riders themselves. You really only see them on the club level,
Hmm.
and really what everything regarding the club. The only people that you see somewhat outside of that club level are the main characters, which are Benny and his wife, which I believe her name in the movie is Kathy. That's
Yeah, Kathy.
Jodie
Yeah.
Comer.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are the only real characters who you really see outside of the bike club itself. I felt like I wish it would have been a little bit longer so they could add a little bit more detail to a few things.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair criticism. I kind of feel the same way about that element, about the characters not getting enough time, even though, I think overall it wasn't a big deficit to the film. I think it would have improved the film in some way if you would have been able to, just like you said, dive a little bit deeper into some of these main supporting characters, a little bit more outside of the club. So I do agree with you with that. I think my only other complaint for me would be, it's not really too much of a complaint, but I think there was a little bit of like a predictability of one of the characters' arcs, or like end game in the film, and we can get into that. We'll get into that in a little bit in spoiler mode after this. But yeah, that other than that, kind of like what you said, the characters, I wish they had a little bit more time to kind of get to know like the other main bike riders, and then in the end, there's a little bit of a predictability. Even though I think overall it works, I think they could have done it maybe in a way that was a little bit less predictable.
Yeah, I think moving on as far as this review, we're probably going to get into spoiler territory
Spoilers,
now.
yeah.
So if you have not seen the movie and want to watch it, I highly recommend it. Steven, I believe you
Mhm.
highly recommend it as
Yeah,
well.
I recommend it.
I would
Yeah.
probably I would probably stop here, go watch the movie, then come back and finish the video and let us know your thoughts on it as well, because it's a very good movie, and I definitely think it should be one to watch, at least
Yeah.
in my opinion. So as far as the movie goes, Steven, what did you think about the acting?
Well, I mean, I think overall the acting was really good. I had no issues with anybody in the film. But my favorite performances, are Tom Hardy. I think that was kind of a given. I think he's just one of the best contemporary actors right now. Jodie Comer, she's the female lead in the film and narrating the story for us. And those two are the standouts in my opinion. I guess out of like the smaller roles, I would have to say uh, Michael Shannon is probably my favorite outside of the main leads. Yeah, he's my favorite. I think he had like maybe like, I don't know, 3 main scenes if I'm remembering correctly, but each scene, especially the scene by the fire pit, I really liked a lot, where he's just talking about how he went to the draft and they didn't accept him. Though that scene was just a scene that I thought was going to be kind of like a throwaway, but it really hooked me in just the way. And that's just part of his performance. He's just a great actor. You don't really know what he's kind of thinking. You're always trying to wonder what he's thinking. He has those eyes that are kind of, just intense. So Michael Shannon, Jodie Comer, and Tom Hardy. And Tom Hardy, he's one of the best at just like saying stuff without saying it. Actually, you can read it on his face. There's a lot of like the moment at the end when he's trying to give off the club to Austin Butler's character, which he's already tried earlier in the movie, mentioned it to him like, hey, I'm thinking about retiring so you could take over this club. Obviously Austin Butler's been kind of like, I don't really want to do this, I want to still be kind of free and not have to manage these guys. And then at the end he tries it again when it's really gotten out of hand, the club. And you could tell just in his eyes that he's just kind of like disheartened that he wasn't able to give it off, and that he's clearly tired of this gang. He feels worn out. And that scene was just very, I don't know. It was a powerful acting moment for me with his character. And I thought it was really well done. But yeah, those are my top three performances in the film for me, but everybody was great. No weak link in my opinion. So what about you? What were your favorite ones?
So they all did a good job. Obviously, I think Tom Hardy to me was the standout because he did a lot without saying a lot
Mm-hmm.
in the movie. His actions, his facial demeanor, like you mentioned. And for anyone who has seen the movie or has not seen the movie but is not sure exactly what we're talking about, in the movie, as mentioned, his club goes from being an innocent club for the boys to essentially hang out to the end. It's has so many members, and a lot of them are
Just don't share the
more of
same
the
values.
they're more of the criminal type, I guess, that you can say.
Drug addicts.
And he realizes that he no longer has the club he started. It's completely changed, and he no longer wants to be the guy in charge of that. And the stress, you could see it's mentally worn him down, like just in his face. Like you almost see the guy. I think the movie takes a
10
place
years, right?
across 10 years,
Yeah.
roughly 8 or 10 years. And you can see him age from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. And just the way his face is, the way he carries himself, his demeanor, it totally changes. The other person that I thought did very well, and you mentioned her, was I believe Jodie Comer is her name.
Yeah,
So
Jodie
she did
Comer.
very well, and I've seen her in stuff like Free Guy before,
Hmm.
and she's nailed her accent. She just fit
Yeah.
the role that she did perfectly. Austin Butler came in, and his role was kind of like
Mysterious cool guy.
the rebel, yeah. And a lot of times I feel like you can mess those roles up. You can kind of screw that up, but he did it perfectly, in my opinion. But who I like the most, who I think is the kid, which the kid is essentially the villain in the movie,
Yeah, yeah.
and they don't. He's in only a handful of scenes, but he does, like, he's just the way he acts. Like you would feel that this kid is a hateful, just pos who's
Yeah.
a product of his environment, and he just gets that across.
What's his name?
Like he just looks intense, and he's not. His name is
Toby
Toby
Wallace. Toby
Toby
Wallace.
Wallace, and I had not seen him in anything
He's
else,
good. Really good.
and he does an excellent job.
I was just gonna say about him. He has kind of a hard role in the movie because he doesn't have many scenes, but he's crucial to the story, and
Yeah,
but he delivers on those moments, those little moments that he's in. He really makes you remember him, and they do a good job. Jeff Nichols and does a good job at spotlighting him. Without and not in a lame way. I don't know. It's just a very natural way they spotlight him throughout the movie, and he delivers on his performance. He's a mystery in a way. You see a little bit of his home life, which is a
you
great
know he's
moment,
going to be
But
key to
yeah,
the movie early on. You
yeah,
know he's going to
exactly.
be a key to the movie early on, and you're not sure exactly yet until a few scenes later when he appears. Then you realize that he's going to essentially be
A crucial part of the story,
a
basically.
crucial part,
Yeah.
and he's going to, basically send the trajectory of this club in a completely different direction.
And it wasn't like a role, like he played it in a way where I was like, okay, this guy's a good actor, and I didn't hate him because he was playing a bad role. I was more impressed at how good he was playing the bad guy role and it's not like I'm the bad guy. You could just it's like just kind of like a natural progression in the story.
Was there any scenes in the movie that stood out to you?
Yeah, favorite scenes. Yeah, if I had I really like the scene when, oh my god, I lost my train of thought right now. But the scene with Johnny, when I'll say this scene first. I did like the scene when he kind of loses his temper, and he's like his right hand man Brucey is like trying to get everybody like calm down and stuff, and then he just snaps. He's like, shut the fuck up. He just like snaps on everybody. I really like that moment because it kind of showed his dominance. And also that moment, that's also the same moment where the guy challenges him he like challenges him because he brings up the idea about spreading the club around to other cities and stuff like that. And he disagrees, but then they fight over it, have a fist fight. And then after he beats the guy up, breaks his finger, he tells him, yeah, we can do it, because he wants it to be his idea as like a power move. So I thought that was a very good scene. And also the other scene with Tom Hardy, oh my god, and I'm trying to think of it. It's like I don't know why I went blank on it. But it's oh my god.
Well, you think of it. The one scene to me that I thought was very good is when so essentially what happens is the kid challenges him for leadership of the club, which has been a rule since day one that you could always challenge a leader for the club. Up until this point, he was challenged essentially in the very beginning,
Yeah.
and he hasn't been challenged since. And the club's huge now, and the kid was not allowed into the club by Tom Hardy, Johnny, not into the main club in Chicago, but he eventually joins up in another chapter and ends up coming back down and challenging Johnny for the club. So they decide they're going to square it away with a knife fight. as he's going to the knife fight the following night, you get a glimpse of his home life, and he's leaving, and his wife says, "Hey, make sure to pick up some milk on the way back." And his house is a nice, maintained, middle
Suburban,
America
yeah,
type of suburban house, and it just shows you like these are just guys. It says so much in a matter of like 5 to 10 seconds of what these guys really are. They're just guys that love bikes and wanted to start a club, and then this machine grew out of control and became something that they no longer could control. They go back to their family like any other guy that works a 9 to 5, and that's what it was. And I thought that scene right there was very well set up because it just lets you know, like, hey, at the end of the day, this guy's not a criminal. He's not a thug. He's
uh,
just a guy who loves bikes, and his club got out of hand.
and that scene is great because the one that you're talking about because it gives you more makes you feel empathetic even more towards Tom Hardy's character Johnny just by getting that glimpse of his home life. And then also I love it that they use anamorphic lenses. That's just a great gives it a great scope, a great kind of like almost epicness to the story, you know. If you're not familiar with anamorphic lenses, they create this kind of natural surrealism in the lens, like a natural artifact in the lens that kind of creates like this barrel distortion and also creates those like natural lens flares. Look into it. If a lot of great movies are shot in it, Jaws, you know, Django Unchained. But yeah, the music was great too. Had a good score that was kind of like not overwhelming, but like it got like it felt like kind of like a biker score, and then it can get very deep and heavy and ominous as the movie progressed.
Overall, I guess now all we just got to do is give it the rating. So, what do you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, so yeah, my final like thoughts and ratings on this is that you should definitely watch it. It's out to stream, right? You can rent it now.
Yeah.
So rent it for sure, and then buy it if you like it, of course. My final rating would be 8.5. It's a very strong film. It even though if you know try to avoid the trailer if you haven't seen it, don't go watch the trailer because you might be thinking it's something else. Just go watch it. That you know it's about this biker gang that came to fruition basically, and it's about these guys and how it kind of got out of hand. But it's not like what the trailer necessarily suggests, where it's like kind of a crime can be considered like a crime epic or something like that. It's not that at all. And yeah, it's a good drama about these guys in a certain time and place in history. It's based off a novel, so I don't know much about the novel, how close they are to the novel, but it felt like they didn't really embellish anything. You know, it didn't seem like anything too crazy happened in the sense that maybe like, did that really happen? You know how some movies you just feel like that seems way too unrealistic. This movie seems pretty grounded in that sense, in my opinion. But yeah, 8.5 for me. What about you?
Yeah, I give it an 8.5 as well. I thought the only thing that I wish is I actually would have seen this movie in theaters. I think I would have enjoyed it in theaters a lot.
Likewise.
It was, again, it was very well made. Story's great. I don't know how much is accurate. The only thing I know is that the Vandals, which is the bike club in the movie, is based on a real life motorcycle club named the Outlaws.
Okay.
Other than that, I have no clue as to what is real, what is not.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it's not one of those movies where I feel like I need to question it because nothing seems like it's unrealistic. Nothing seems like it wasn't possible. Sometimes you see movies and you're like, is that real? And like, and
Or
you
it feels like
question it,
it's
and
a
I don't
movie
think.
thing, you know, where you
Yeah,
watch
I
the
feel
film,
like,
no, this is a movie
and
invention.
there isn't any of that in this movie. It's just a solid movie all around, a very good movie.
I feel like if you're at all interested in this topic, if you have any like, you know, if you look into it a little bit without, not even if you watch the trailer, but you just kind of look into it, you like the cast, I think you at least like not feel like you were robbed of
Well, the good thing about it,
an hour and 50 minutes, you know?
the good thing about it is I don't think you have to care about motorcycles. The
Exactly.
story
Yeah.
itself works even if you're not a motorcycle person. If you just want to see a good story that
Yeah.
you know develops over time, I definitely think I would recommend watching it. So
Yeah.
that's it. 8.5 from both of us.
Yeah.
You know, I think we both really like this one. We both approved it. Appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. If you guys can smack a like on the video, we'd really appreciate it as well. And subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with more of the videos we're going to be releasing. We're going to be releasing some debates that we have about which movies are better. We're going to be doing some lists.
Yeah.
Either way, we'd appreciate you to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our content. Appreciate it. I'm Nathan. This is Steven, and this is 24 Chambers of Film.